Look at these dipshits.
Did they do,
It's a great song.
who did Carry On My Wayward Son?
Kansas.
Kansas.
Yes.
Another one.
Another
Come
one.
on,
Is
everybody.
But then some haven't been taken, like Alaska.
Are you sure about
Florida?
Florida, yeah. Well,
Florida.
Florida, yeah. But he had the decency
Iowa?
to break it
that? That was a
up.
close one. Oh, Iowa.
Why?
Good? Okay.
I turned the gain down slightly. I noticed I was clipping
okay.
last time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What you got there?
Oh, I got the usual.
Hell yeah, Diet Mountain Dew Zero.
It's not that
Oh, okay, you're right. It's zero. There's a difference. Zero
There is.
calories.
And this is the anti-racist version of Mountain Dew. Diet Mountain Dew is racist.
Diet Mountain Dew is forever tainted by J.D. Vance associations.
Tim Walz is trying to rehabilitate Diet Mountain Dew. Can't be done.
Is he really?
No, but they both
That'd be
have
awesome.
they both have like Diet Mountain Dew fetishes that have been in articles and stuff.
Okay. I didn't hear that about Walls.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, where were we? What were we doing? Oh, you said you were clipping last time.
Yeah.
On the Slipknot episode?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. You don't ever complain about my audio, so.
No, it's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
compared to everybody else's audio.
Yeah, my $60 mono price bundle has served me well over these 5 years of podcasting.
You don't have to invest that much.
No,
But-
you don't.
Yeah.
Just get a little XLR interface and a shitty dynamic mic. You're good.
Yep. Okay, here we go. This is Rock Hard Caucus episode 160. It is August 18th of 2024, and we are just about to celebrate the 5th anniversary of Rock Hard Caucus. Episode 1 was all the way back on August 20th of 2019. And it's just Evan and I today. I wanted to have a big party, but I also forgot that the anniversary was coming up, so didn't really plan anything. So I guess just between the two of us, what do you think? What has the impact of this podcast been in 5 years of its existence, and what has changed in the world since August of 2019?
We were babies back then. Yeah, we started this podcast, I think we've mentioned before, because Jeffrey Epstein died in prison, and we just were in a group chat, and I was staying over at our friend The High's house, who did the artwork for the pod.
Yep.
And
Still the podcast art to this day. So if you see that red square with the guillotine in it, that's Allie.
the guillotine. Yeah, we were babies.
I was 28. I was almost 29 when we started.
I was 30, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would have been 30 because I'm 35 now. 35 minus 5 is 30.
Yes.
I was on the futon, woke up to a flurry of messages about the news, and we talked about doing a podcast, and we got to give credit to Chuck, our friend Chuck, because he kind of put together the lineup.
Yeah.
And it was a good lineup. And yeah, I would say it's been nothing but a blessing. I'm pleasantly surprised that it's lasted this long.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to contribute. I feel like I'm like the most middle of the road podcast guy ever. Like I'm basically, if you think of like a white male podcaster, like
Yeah, that's us.
that's us. But we come by it honestly, I think, and we try to, uplift voices that are different than ours. Would like to do that more, I think.
Yeah.
But really, I must not take much credit because it's really Justin has been like the driving force behind everything, and owe a lot to him for doing it. And I love him.
Oh shit. We're getting too sincere on mic.
Yep. It's a change from the normal episode.
Yeah, Evan downplays his own contributions, but if this was just me, if it really whittled down all the way to just one host, it wouldn't be happening anymore. So.
Right.
But I do love talking into a microphone and then editing audio. I love it. Otherwise, this wouldn't still exist because we don't make any money, really.
Yeah. And also there's like really no bad blood at all or anything. If you've ever like wondered why people stopped appearing on the podcast, it has absolutely nothing to do with like any drama at all.
No, it's more just
And
that, they have children and jobs that are more demanding than ours.
Yes. Going back to my previous point about being the white male podcaster.
Yep. Okay, I wanted to talk about this because I showed Evan that I'm injured. So I just want to complain about mild inconveniences in my life. White male podcaster, you know how it is.
Yeah.
The other night, the Iowa City Punks had a show at the skate park again. Mm-hmm. This time they got a permit, but it started raining during the show. And there's like kind of this spot in the skate park where there's like two bowl shaped areas and there's like a little lip in between them that you could like grind on or whatever. Yeah. And I was sitting on that little lip. It started raining and I was like, I need to get out of this rain. So I tried to get down gracefully, but there's also, paint all over the bowl because people paint and graffiti and stuff on it. And it turns out that paint is slippery when wet.
It's very slippery when wet. Yeah.
Yeah. So I tried to get down sort of, safely, and I just slid really hard on the paint. And here, I'll show you under the bandage.
Damn. Oh, nice.
Yeah, ripped a bunch of skin off of the heel of my right hand. And it's not like bad, but it's gonna take a minute to heal.
So you were like trying to brace yourself?
Yeah, I just like fell really quick and just scraped it along concrete all the way down,
Ugh.
Took off some skin. It was bleeding for a while. I guess it's still kind of seeping, so I don't know. It's not like that bad, but I can't really like do anything.
Yeah, that's not a good
strenuous.
place.
Yeah, it's a bad spot to have an injury.
Very flexible spot of your body.
Yeah, which leads me to the next mild inconvenience. I have a flat tire on my car, and I can't like get it off with my hand like this. So I don't know like how I'm gonna deal with this, but fortunately I don't really need to go anywhere for a couple of days. So I don't know. Maybe it'll get better enough for me to take the tire off.
I always stand on the jack to start it.
Yeah. I guess I can probably manage it without having to use my right hand too much. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'll try. Okay, I wanted to revisit something actually from the last episode because I just sort of threw it in right at the end of the episode we recorded at your place. We talked to Lanon Bacom at the state fair. He's running for Congress in Iowa's 3rd district. He's the Democrat. He's running against Zach Nunn, and they're doing kind of who's the better veteran. That's kind of the state of that race.
100%.
That's pretty much all that's going on, I think.
Yeah. I've seen multiple people say that. Like, I had no idea anything about this guy, but he's a veteran. That's the only thing, like, he talks about.
Yeah. And actually, we recorded that little clip after we had recorded the episode. So we haven't actually talked about what happened at all on mic. Mm-hmm. So we saw Anon at the Des Moines Register soapbox. He was the only guy on that day. The state fair is like not super political this year because it's not leading up to a caucus, so nobody cares that much.
But still, like, I was surprised at the lack of like Trump stuff, like compared to last year. I mean, like you said, it's a little different, but even then, it's like general elections coming up.
Right? Yeah, it's not like there isn't politics happening, but it's not really dominating the state fair like it sometimes does.
Yeah.
So we saw him speak, and he brought his daughter up on stage, and it's like, oh, she's gonna do like a cute little intro, and then he'll get into his thing. She'll step off the stage. No, she was there the whole time. That seemed odd.
That was
right?
weird. Yeah. I mean, she was happy. She seemed she was happy to be there. She had a nice smile on her face the entire time, but it was a little awkward for sure.
Yeah, it's strange to have your young child just sort of standing next to you, smiling silently for 10 minutes straight.
Yeah, I mean, but it's a political tradition to use children as props, so can't knock him too hard on that.
Yeah, it's not a huge deal, but it did get uncomfortable after a minute or two. When I look at him and then I look at her and she's just still there, just silent, showing all of her teeth. with a very genuine, real smile. I don't really remember much of what he said in his speech. Although the end was also a little awkward because the guy showed him he had 10 minutes left because I think they have a 20-minute, cutoff. And he out loud addressed the fact that he had 10 minutes left. And then he pretty much wrapped up immediately.
Yeah, that was weird. And then he didn't solicit audience questions, but he seemed like he was going for elderly folks. He probably saw you're wearing the ranch,
my Ray Gun shirt,
Ray Gun ranch shirt. And I once again just look like a male podcaster. So probably didn't want to talk to us too badly.
Yeah. Yeah. When he said, "Oh, I've only got 10 minutes left," I thought maybe he'd go into a Q&A thing. But
because last year a lot of candidates did take questions directly from the audience while they were on stage.
Mm-hmm. No, he was just sort of "God bless America, goodbye."
Yeah,
I cede my time. And then we kind of ambushed him. So let me play the clip of our brief interaction with congressional candidate Lanon Bakam.
Hey guys, I got to run for the press thing, but hey, I'm Lanon.
Hey Lanon, my name's Justin.
Justin, nice to meet you.
Do you think that the U.S. should continue sending money and weapons to Israel?
I think the U.S. should make sure we support our friends in the Middle East, the only democracy that exists there, Israel, because they're constantly under threat from folks like Iran. They're preparing an attack right now.
Appreciate the answer.
They got attacked first. I want to say that.
So yeah, I was sort of cowardly in not pressing him. I was like, all right, I got him on the record. That's all I need. But then you kind of pushed back, Evan.
Yeah, I didn't introduce myself. I was just, and I was I don't know. I really embraced my chance to talk down to a congressional candidate, literally and figuratively. Yeah. But I'm sorry, but Israel invited that fucking attack that still hasn't happened, by the way.
Right.
They attacked the Iranian consulate in Damascus. Unprovoked.
Yeah.
Obviously there's a history there, but come on. I was not happy with the answer. And, I know, maybe
no one should be
slightly more than about geopolitics than the average person. Not a lot, but
I'm sure he knows more than us.
Yeah.
Right?
He looked very uncomfortable because I just sniped him with that.
Yeah. So I'm not surprised that he answered the way he did, but it's not a good answer.
I kind of am because that's the answer that you would have given 5-10 years ago.
Yeah,
it doesn't take into context any of the new developments, which is Israel doing the craziest shit to literally try to bring about some horrible wars.
It definitely seems like they're trying to court aggression, right? They want things to get worse dramatically. Yeah. But I guess that's kind of why I'm not surprised because, he doesn't want to acknowledge reality. He's running in a race from 5 or 10 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, we should have asked him if he thought Israel was doing a genocide.
I guess we could have been more direct.
But he probably would have said no.
Yeah. But I do think that this is, the most pressing question for anyone who seeks office in the United States federal government, right? This is what we're doing right now. This is the thing that is guiding American foreign policy. And if you want to be in Congress, like, you're going to have some direct input on that.
Yeah.
And it seems like a vote for Lanon Bakam is a vote for full steam ahead.
Yeah. Well, that's again why I was surprised, because, like, there is a lot of fucking people who are very invested in, I mean, it's like people's families, like,
yeah, people
who were like part of the Palestinian diaspora. Like, yeah, like, you have to have a better answer. You have to have something, like, even like we talked about in the last episode, Kamala has been even slightly toning down some of the rhetoric, as far as confronting, like, protesters and stuff.
Yeah, right.
But, like, people are going to ask you that question, not just us.
I hope we're not the last, and I hope maybe I'll get a chance to ask more congressional candidates about this. Yeah, I played at a benefit for the PCRF the other night which I was like very honored to be a part of, and heard from multiple people who like have family over there, and in some cases don't have family over there anymore. It's like, this is the worst thing that's happening right now, and we're letting it happen, making it happen, the United States. So I think that any chance you get, anybody who has any direct say in like whether this continues, we have to just harass them about it.
Yeah, he was not happy to get that question. Because, like I said,
at the least,
he was going for the elderly folks, just introducing himself, doing some retail politics.
Oh yeah, and he shouted out Governor Robert Ray in his speech.
Yep.
I don't know if you can actually hear it in the clip I just played, but right after we wrapped up our little thing, somebody asked him, "Did you know Bob Ray?" Those are the questions he wants.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to talk about a terrible restaurant?
Yeah, I was reading these this morning.
Yeah. So a restaurant in Cedar Rapids called Chop House Downtown, which I had never been to. I'm not sure if I know anyone who had been there. I mean, probably people I know have eaten there, but they closed a couple weeks ago, which was kind of a surprise. I don't think that they warned any of their employees that they were like closure was imminent. And I've got here a copied and pasted Facebook post that they shared, which has been deleted, but they posted this on the restaurant's Facebook page on August 1st. I think the whole page is gone, actually. Yeah, the Chop House Downtown Facebook page has completely disappeared. It's almost like they're trying to hide. But fortunately, the Cedar Valley's classic rock station, 97.7 KCRR, has a record of the Facebook post. I don't even know what radio station that is. I don't know that one.
Yeah, I saw that too. I was like, what? I thought you sent me a wrong link. I thought it was supposed to be KCRG.
Yeah, we'll get to the KCRG coverage of this, which has been very...
I'm sure it's... Yeah, excellent.
The tone is very interesting, actually. They've done like 4 or 5 pieces on this since the restaurant closed. Anyway, the Facebook post from the owners of the restaurant, as archived by KCRR, the Cedar Valley's classic rock. Despite our dedication and effort, certain challenges have made it difficult for us to continue operating. More recently, the increasing number of homeless individuals, the removal of parking meters, and the rise of major competitors with free parking have all contributed to our struggles. Additionally, the current economic challenges, rising food costs, and staffing difficulties have further strained our operations. With the upcoming construction for the flood wall installation next year, we believe it is the right time for us to step away and move on. So there's kind of like 3 major components to that. Bidenflation, homeless people, which here the address of this was 411 First Street Southeast. All right,
let me pull it up. I was going to say I haven't lived in Cedar Rapids for over a decade at this point, but I've actually not seen. I don't think I've ever seen a homeless person in Cedar Rapids. I'm sure there are, absolutely.
Yeah,
and it might be different now.
There are more people living outside than there used to be, which is the case pretty much everywhere. Obviously, the problem is not those people. The problem is not that there are people.
The most ridiculous cop out I think I've ever heard.
Yeah,
it's a restaurant. Like, how many restaurants fucking fail? Like, tons.
The place in Cedar Rapids where I generally see unhoused people is at Green Square Park, which is over by the library. It's like 3 or 4 blocks away from this restaurant. So, and you know, I'm 100% positive these people were not fucking with the restaurant.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, this is like a pretty fucked up thing to scapegoat for the reason that your business is failing.
Absolutely.
It's not that we fucked up managing. It's the fault of these people who have nothing. They ruined this for me. And I don't know what's going on with the removal of parking meters. I generally don't have to park downtown, so I don't have to deal with that shit. Yeah, I was
confused about that too. Like, how expensive this is the removal of parking meters and then the rise of competitors with free parking. So they're charging, like, for parking without a meter or something? Like, I don't understand.
Maybe they've gone app only or something, and so some people can't figure out how to park. I don't really know. It's the fault of other businesses having parking lots. That's why our business failed.
Yeah. There's actually other better restaurants nearby, and that's why we're failing. And it's
Imagine if they had acknowledged that. And then the building of the flood wall, like, obviously important infrastructure that's like 15 plus years late. This thing
for real.
that we've known was coming for a really long time and is obviously going to be increasingly necessary as our city gets destroyed every 10 years.
When you had like two 100 level or 100 year flood events within like 15 years.
And who knows how that would have even impacted their business. Anyway, they're full of shit. They're deflecting blame. Now let's talk about KCRG's coverage of this. They are out for blood, I think. So there's a couple details in KCRG's first piece about this from August 1st when the business first closed. It had been open for about 3 years. One of the owners, Ryan Avila Barillo, sent a letter to staff notifying them of the closure Wednesday night. And then it's just a repeat of that Facebook post. So that would have been the night before they closed. So basically no warning at all. Just like, hey, don't come in tomorrow. You don't have a job anymore. Which is the best way to, let your employees know that you're closing. It's happened to me before.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's been a couple of businesses in Des Moines that had the same thing happen where like they just closed, employees weren't getting paid. If I didn't remember, it's Crunkwitch and whoever the fuck owned that. I don't remember his name.
Was that the Taco Apocalypse guy?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. I forget his name too. We didn't know today would be the day until today. The owner wrote in a letter to staff on Wednesday night. We can't consciously keep operating when Chop House can't cover the payroll.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, you should have stopped before you couldn't pay the payroll, I think.
You did also know that today would be the day. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Just lies.
The owner thanked staff for their commitment to the restaurant and encouraged them to apply for unemployment benefits. Ryan and Joseph Avila Barillo said they plan to take some time to focus on themselves and their relationship before seeking new opportunities in the future. So this is a couple, a married couple who owns this business. Mm-hmm. So they're shutting down without warning, encouraging their employees to apply for unemployment, which hopefully means that they won't like challenge them receiving those benefits.
Right. Yeah, that would be good.
And they're going to focus on their relationship. So that's I don't know if that's I can't really read between the lines there. I don't know.
That's such a funny thing to say.
All right, so that first article is sort of like, okay, it seems like the typical business owners like not really considering the lives of their employees, but not super out of the ordinary. And then we follow up about a week later, August 8th, KCRG is talking about this again. Former Chop House downtown employees still waiting on final paychecks after closure. So that's a full week after they closed. I'll just read this one in full because it's kind of revealing. For Colette Clinton, Chop House downtown was her livelihood. So when the owners abruptly closed it last Thursday, it changed her life. And this is a quote from Colette. I actually clocked out an hour before the message. And keep in mind, KCRG articles, the text of the articles is like a poorly transcribed, like, closed caption of the video piece. And they don't edit it. They don't correct mistakes. So, so it actually reads, I actually clocked out an hours before the message. I read the message. I didn't even get to read all of it until I just broke down, fell on the floor crying. So this is what they're doing to their employees. Blindsiding them with the loss of their job. But what's really affected Clinton is the fact that she and many other employees haven't received their last paychecks as scheduled last week. So they're a week overdue. A few even told us past paychecks they deposited bounced. A TV9 reporter reached out to one of the owners, Ryan Avila Barillo. He explained that they're currently in the process of liquidating their assets to be able to pay everybody. He's unsure how long that will take, but has sent updates to employees.
Oh my God. That means they don't have the fucking assets to cover it. Like 100%. Like what assets? Like they didn't. I assume they didn't own the building. Like there's nothing.
Right.
Like, they're selling some fucking ovens or like.
Yeah. They're selling a bunch of failed restaurant equipment to some other sucker who's going to open a failing business. This is like stuff that I can't confirm, obviously, but I was reading, social media posts about this, and allegedly, in the months leading up to the restaurant failing, they were spending a lot of money on like boats and stuff. So may have led to this. We can't pay you. We just spent all the business's money on toys for ourselves.
They're working on their relationship. I mean, the boat is helping them heal.
How can our marriage survive? If you want to get paid, I can't get divorced, okay? That means employees like Clinton are left waiting on the money they are owed. My whole life basically felt like it was over. Mom of 3, my oldest starts school this month, and school supplies, school shopping, school clothes, school shoes, now it's just non-existent. Yeah, it's also a bad time to just suddenly lose your job, right? Not that any time is good, but, obviously she has a lot of expenses on the horizon.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
Yeah, just gets the rug pulled out from under her. She says she's applying for other jobs and has filed for unemployment, hoping that's enough to keep her family afloat. I'm not sure how quickly you can start receiving unemployment checks these days. The Chop House owners, that's kind of just rehashing the Facebook post. Although they do mention competition from new restaurants downtown like Big Grove and Pickle Palace. Do you know about Pickle Palace, Evan?
I have no idea. Is that like a pickleball themed restaurant or just pickles?
I guess I don't know. I've only really driven past like at night, but you can see it from 380. You can see it from the interstate. It's like this big new like brewery looking place.
It literally is a restaurant that has pickleball.
Do they have pickleball? Okay.
Yeah, and duck pin bowling.
Wow.
That's cool.
Downtown Cedar Rapids
they're gentrifying. Yeah, they're gentrifying the fuck out of it. I liked your post about going to downtown Cedar Rapids when you were a kid and not seeing a single other soul.
Yeah.
Totally in line with my experience, except I never even went to downtown Cedar Rapids for any reason.
Oh yeah, this happened twice ever.
Yeah, other than to go to like maybe the Five Seasons Center, whatever it's called now, U.S. Cellular Center.
Now I believe it is the Alliant Powerhouse.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you for correcting me.
But it's hard for me to remember.
That's why the whole I'm just chilling in Cedar Rapids thing was so funny, because it's just like...
Oh yeah, she's at the deadest part of town. Yeah,
yeah, the tree. That beautiful tree.
Oh, I remember why I posted about downtown. It's because I saw a Tiffany O'Donnell, who's the mayor of Cedar Rapids. She posted something on Facebook, I think, that said, "That downtown vibe, though."
I will say the last time I was in Cedar Rapids, it was a lot. There was a lot more going on downtown than I had seen in the past. But it also got like fucking flooded out, a lot of it, and so they had to rebuild so much shit.
Which is a good idea. If a space just flooded, you should put more stuff on it right away.
Yeah.
But I have heard that this Pickle Palace thing they got, it's maybe shady. Like the sudden appearance of the Pickle Palace. They got some like good tax incentives or something, and I've seen like a crazy lady allege like a grand conspiracy around the Pickle Palace. She's gone to city council meetings and sort of accused the local government of who knows what's going on in the basement of Pickle Palace,
I don't know. I mean, I remember they were trying to get a casino in downtown Cedar Rapids for a long time and offering all kinds of incentives for it.
Oh, God,
yeah.
I'd rather have a Pickle Palace than a casino, I think.
Yeah, agreed.
Though I will probably not be a patron of either.
Right. Yeah, casinos are bad.
Yeah, this article says the removal of parking meters confuse a lot of customers, and then they get one last little like stab in at the end of this. But they didn't give as many reasons for shutting down Mezcal in a completely different area of town. So they owned another place called Mezcal. Don't know anything about that place either, to be honest. But yeah, all of these excuses they made for one business don't really apply to the other. So obviously there's more going on.
Dang, that's the most cutting local news, like ending line that I've seen. Especially about a business, usually they're just ready to kiss some ass. But
yeah, I'm sure if we go back 3 years in the KCRG coverage of Chop House downtown, it was just fluff pieces,
Yeah.
So moving on to the next day, August 9th, another KCRG piece about the same people and restaurant. Court records show Chop House downtown owners have histories of fraud, unpaid debts, and crime.
It just keeps getting thicker.
Yeah. So this one starts in kind of a different place. Jennifer and Michael Jones's home now hides the scars from the 2020 derecho. They initially hired Luxury Kitchens LLC to repair some of the damage because their friend, Ryan Avila Barillo, owned it. And I'm probably saying his name wrong, so I'm sorry about that.
Barrio.
Yeah, it's probably it's the double L. Yeah, it's the Y thing. Yeah, Barillo. So they hired Ryan and his company, Luxury Kitchens LLC, to fix derecho damage on their home. What do you think of that name of that business?
Yeah,
Luxury
I was thinking
Kitchens
that
LLC.
it's a little... I don't know if I would hire Luxury Kitchens LLC to fix storm damage. I might hire them to renovate my kitchen, but it seems a little strange.
Yeah. The high winds, the straight line winds destroyed my dishwasher.
Yeah, I guess these guys got a lot of irons and a lot of different fires.
So this is Michael Jones, who owns the home in question. We were like everybody else during the derecho, just looking for someone to help us. So Ryan volunteered, and we thought we had a friend in the business that could help us, that we could trust. A lot of people got ripped off in the aftermath.
Oh, for
of the
sure.
derecho.
I know. I heard a lot about and I've heard also like tornado damage, like Greenfield, other places where there's a lot of like traveling contractors who just go to places where terrible things have happened and do shoddy work for like undercut actual like legitimate contractors to do shoddy work.
Yeah, that was happening like crazy. There were people just going door to door in Cedar Rapids, but you would think if this is a person that you personally know, he lives in town, like you can trust this guy, right? The Joneses say Ryan replaced windows and flooring, but they say the work was shoddy at best. Several windows weren't sealed, allowing water to get in and damage walls.
Oh, man.
The tiling on the kitchen floor, they say, wasn't level. When they asked for a refund, he shut down his company. The Joneses said they lost about $14,000. Too much for small claims court, but too little to make it worth it to hire an attorney. The Joneses, this is so good. I have not seen KCRG do this to any business owner, maybe ever.
Right. Yeah, it's wild.
The Joneses were more upset when I told them what we found in court records, a history of fraud and unpaid debts. So they're digging into these business owners. They should be doing this to like everyone in Cedar Rapids.
Yeah, for sure. I wish that, like we were just talking about how local news doesn't really do investigative journalism at all. But yeah, they should absolutely be looking into more businesses because I'm sure they can find a lot of similar stories. They're out there.
Yeah. I mean, you don't become a business owner without really having a mountain of evidence behind you,
True.
I mean, that's been my experience, working for small business owners. Like, they're not the most trustworthy individuals.
Yeah.
And maybe it's worse in Cedar Rapids than some other places, but like... Iowa court records show Green State Credit Union is going after Ryan and Luxury Kitchens for more than $600 in overdraft fees. Now, this one I don't really think is a problem.
Yeah, overdraft fees. $600 in overdraft fees? Like...
Yeah, I don't know how you got to that point.
Yeah, I don't... That's what I don't... I guess that's... They make the money off the fees, so they'll keep letting you rack them up.
Yeah, true.
Which... I don't know. Seems counterproductive, but what do I know?
Yeah, it doesn't reflect well on Green State either, who I bank with.
Yeah, I have an account.
A court officer tried to serve Ryan, tried 6 times looking for him at their home or at Chop House, but failed, finally concluding It is evident the defendant is intentionally avoiding service. I love that. I wonder where he is.
So much effort for only for you to just get aired out in local media.
Getting on local TV news. And that's only $600. That's not probably the biggest.
That's not a big deal.
Following them. For example, Ryan's husband Joseph was convicted at least 5 times in California for burglary and shoplifting. Now, shoplifting, that's whatever, but
yeah,
burglary, it kind of depends on who you're burglarizing. The last conviction in 2014, Joseph and a partner were making their own credit cards and using them to make dozens of purchases.
They were making their own credit cards? Hold on.
If the credit cards worked, I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
I can see how this guy is a business owner because he's got that entrepreneurial spirit. Court records show he still owes about $4,500 in fees and restitution, but stopped making payments in March of 2021. In Iowa, Citibank also sued Joseph this year for failing to pay more than $8,000 on a Best Buy credit card. And that's one that I suspect you can probably just wait them out. Right? Best Buy is probably not going to last forever.
Yeah. No.
Racking up Best Buy credit card debt, that's probably a good investment. That'll get written off in 5 years.
Yeah. I mean, if at the time you could probably, if you could get some PS5s, you can make way more than that. Sell them.
Oh yeah, you could just flip it and then pay the debt off.
Yeah, for sure.
Unfortunately, I don't think PS5s are quite so.
Yeah, not nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Now, seeing what's happened to former Chop House workers who haven't been paid, the Joneses worry the couple is taking advantage of more Iowans. I would say so. And this is a quote. Him saying to me, "Wow, Iowans are so nice. That has sat with me. It makes you feel like you're a target." The picture they're painting there is awesome.
Damn.
This is a dude who got run out of town in California for scamming one too many people, and now he's just found the rubes. It's like the monorail Simpsons episode.
It really is.
He's come out to the Midwest for more marks. Property records also show the Avila Barrios sold their home in Cedar Rapids just weeks before shutting down Chop House downtown for $310,000, which is $130,000 more than they bought it for just 6 years ago.
Oh, man.
So we also can see that they recently came into a sudden 6-figure profit. Their employees are not being paid.
Yeah. And a $310,000 house in Cedar Rapids, that's a pretty good house.
Yeah, I mean, real estate prices have jumped there as well, but Cedar Rapids is still well below a lot of other, certainly a less expensive place to own property than Iowa City.
Yeah.
A TV
Apologies if I might hear any dog barks. Sorry. Sorry to interrupt.
Shut up, Wally.
Wally.
A TV9 reporter was able to get a hold of Ryan on Thursday when he declined to talk about his unpaid former employees. That same reporter tried again on Friday to talk to Ryan and Joseph, but they have not returned any calls. So they've got creditors, former employees, local TV reporters, all chasing their asses. And they're trying to get papers served to them from the bank also.
Dang.
I mean, there's no way these guys are still in Cedar Rapids, right?
Yeah, I was going to say they're moving on to the next town. They're moving to Mason City, like the fucking Music Man.
Yes. And then the latest, I think this is the last KCRG piece about this. I should have checked this morning to see if they got another one out. But August 13th, 2 weeks after Chop House downtown closure, employees still missing paychecks. So, yeah, they close on August 1st or 2nd. It's been over 2 weeks now. Their employees still haven't received the last paycheck. Here's a quote from Chop House downtown sous chef Marcus Brown. "I can't pay certain bills. I can definitely file a few extensions for a couple bills, but other than that, I don't know how long I'm going to see without that money." And this gets into kind of like the legal process. What happens when a business owner fails to cut the checks? And I don't know. This speaks to how our what the hierarchy is in America. One workplace attorney says this is enough of a disruption that employees could take legal action, but he's unsure of whether it would actually result in them getting their wages.
Yeah. I mean, if the money isn't there, money isn't there. Like, there's no, like, insurance for that.
Yeah. There are times when it's not all that hard to get a judgment in court for an amount of money for unpaid wages. Then the problem becomes trying to collect on that judgment, especially if there are other creditors that are in line ahead of you. I think we learned about a couple of them in the previous article.
Yep.
And that's a quote from Nate Willems, who is an attorney. So this is right before they closed. This is Ryan Avila Barrio. He told his employees in a group chat that on July 29th, Chop House's account had tens of thousands of dollars taken out of it due to an agreement with Chop House's food vendor, Performance Food Service. He says this left him blindsided and with no operating cash flow to continue our daily operations. So the restaurant having to pay for food is the reason that the restaurant can no longer operate or pay its employees.
Should have thought about that first, I think.
Yeah, I would say that's kind of, it's what they would call the cost of doing business in this industry.
Very true.
You have to have food if you want to run a restaurant. Yeah. According to KCRG, though, this doesn't line up with what court documents say. So again, they're doing more investigation than they almost ever do. Both Mezcal and Chop House had accounts with Performance Food Service, even getting about $60,000 in signing bonuses. But court documents say they defaulted and now owe more than $100,000 between the two restaurants. As for his claim that he was blindsided, another document proves he was personally served in February, meaning he's known about these bills for at least 6 months, but never responded to any of those legal demands. I mean, on this, I can sympathize. Just ignore the bills and they will go away.
Yep. I've been there. I've ducked some student loans in my day.
Yeah. I mean, the difference, though, is that really only affects us as individuals.
Right.
This is not us dodging the expenses of the business we run, where we employ, a dozen or so people who rely on us for their own life expenses.
Yep.
Whether or not Chop House employees will actually receive their final paychecks remains to be seen. But Brown says he's not hopeful. Brown was, the sous chef, Marcus Brown. It is what it is. That's life, he said.
Man, that's the typical Iowan response, man.
Yeah.
It is what it is. That's life.
Yeah, I mean, that's life when you work in food service, I guess.
Party folks out here. They need Gordon Ramsay. Why didn't they get Gordon Ramsay to do a Kitchen Nightmares episode?
Yeah. And then I love this last part. The owners are also blaming media coverage for workers not getting paid. They claim their attorneys are now dealing with us instead of getting workers their money. But TV9 has not heard from the owners or their attorneys since our first story aired last week.
Our attorneys are billing us for telling you no comment.
Yeah. Our fucking lawyers are having to deal with all this TV Hollywood bullshit instead of finding the money to pay our employees.
They got to sell some more assets. They're gonna find that money someday. The lawyers are gonna get paid. Everybody's gonna get paid. It'll all work out.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the lawyers are probably first in line, right?
Oh, as always.
So good luck to all of the former employees of Chop House downtown. If any of you listen to this show and would like to share your thoughts, we'd be happy to provide a little more coverage of this situation. It seems like KCRG is, doing an uncharacteristically good job of covering this story, though. So I'm glad that's out there. And I mean, if you are Ryan or Joseph, owners of the business, and you want to clear your name or anything, open invitation. Be happy to talk to you. This is, I think, kind of an important subject. There's a 6-week abortion ban in Iowa now, which is, of course, largely the fault of Republican legislators. Our governor, they're the most to blame, I think. They wanted this the most. But they also the governor appoints the judges to the Iowa Supreme Court, and they're the ones who kind of upheld this law and stopped any temporary injunctions or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
They decided, yes, this can be the law and it should go into effect right now. So it's the fault of our entire government. Every branch of the Iowa government is now banning abortion at 6 weeks, so that people who can get pregnant and don't necessarily want to no longer have the right to deal with their bodies the way that they see fit. That's the way that I see it. I think anybody who is responsible for that should face consequences for it, including the justices. But Des Moines Register published this opinion piece which disagrees with that. This came out on August 16th. It was written by Guy R. Cook and Cynthia R. Moser. It's unclear if they're related. They both have R as their middle name.
Well, wait, it says Cynthia C. Moser further down.
What the hell? More shoddy work from our local media. And the piece is called "Two Wrongs Don't Make a Right. Don't Try to Remove an Iowa Justice Out of Spite." Which is a nice, catchy
that's a really good, yeah. I'm glad you read that aloud.
And I did look up both of these people, Guy Cook, Cynthia Moser, just to see what else they have published, what else they have out there. Guy Cook has written multiple opinion pieces about how, when justices are on the ballot, we should not vote them out. He's a defender of judges. And then he also had this opinion piece about Abby Finkenauer back when her ballot fiasco was happening a couple years ago. Headline was, "Abby Finkenauer's remarks were unfair and unprofessional and contrary to judicial independence." So this is a guy who really, really believes in institutions.
Yeah, I mean, sounds like the what he's the former president of the Iowa State Bar Association. Yeah.
Yes, both of the people involved, Guy Cook and Cynthia Moser, used to be presidents of the Iowa State Bar Association. So yeah, institutions work great for them. Yeah. I mean, right. They're good for everybody. Yeah. And yeah, I'm going to read this and that's going to really drive that point home, that institutions are good. This is a response to a piece that the Register published prior. Retired Des Moines Register columnist Rekha Basu recently penned a guest opinion essay that appeared variously under the titles "After Iowa's Abortion Ruling, Should Voters Boot Justice David May?" and "Iowans Are Talking About Firing Judges Again. They Make a Good Case." Expressing her support for efforts by those passionate about reproductive rights to vote no on the retention of Iowa Supreme Court Justice David N. May. And I'm going to put my thoughts out expressly right away. I think we definitely should vote to remove this guy, David May.
Yeah. This shit is so crazy because it's like, there is like a nonpartisan, quote unquote, nonpartisan like board that chooses nominees for Supreme Court vacancies.
Right.
And they choose like 3 people, and then the governor gets to decide which of those 3 candidates that they choose. So like the whole process is designed to like choose the most middle of the road, people imaginable. So it's like, yeah, they should get rid of this guy. No, the guy who replaces him probably isn't going to be like, there's probably going to be another pro-life judge if that gets nominated if they do it again. But at least sends a message I'm sorry, judges are politicians. You're fucking lying to yourselves. You're lying about what you're doing. You're a lawyer. That's your job, to lie. I fucking hate lawyers. Most of them. If you're a public defender, like environmental rights, then yeah, you're good.
Yeah. But, Gina Messimer, you are exempt from lawyer hate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Regrettably, the efforts and the essay are flawed, misguided, and harmful. Evan, you're going to hate everything in this article.
I know.
I don't know if you read ahead.
I did, yeah.
Okay. At the core of the effort for a no vote on retention is circulation of a letter that declares, "Remember what the pro-life people did when the Iowa Supreme Court voted to allow marriage equality? It's an unfortunate development in our society that these kinds of actions against judges must happen. But I'm afraid we have had to learn some sad lessons from those who deny the rights of women. This no vote is another opportunity for us to advocate for the rights of women." So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a liberal
Seems
call
reasonable.
to action. Yeah, it makes sense to me. We have very little input on our state government doing
Right.
this extremely unpopular thing. So we should take. They should be glad this is the route that people want to take, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it harkens back to the what happened in, I believe, 2010. Iowa was kind of an early state in allowing gay marriage, which is shocking these days that we were ahead of our peers in that. And there was a huge backlash amongst the social conservative evangelical movement. And a bunch of out-of-state money came in to sort of fund this like campaign to vote the justices out who approved of same-sex marriage in Iowa. And to me, I mean, that was kind of like a political awakening moment for me. Like that sort of it was so, the backlash for that was so fucked up that it like made me reconsider how the government works, you know?
Yeah, and like, the right-wing judicial shit has just gotten like so fucking crazy in the past. I mean, especially since Trump and the reorganization of the whole Supreme Court. But like, just the Federalist Society judges are like crazier than they've ever been. Like,
yeah, and it's more open. You know, there was sort of like and this article attempts to still keep the pretense alive, but the pretense of like impartiality and like, no, they're actually just the most qualified people for the job. They're the most knowledgeable. They're just interpreting the Constitution accurately.
And they're not going to let their their very open political beliefs affect any of that.
Right. I think that there's barely any pretending anymore. Like, obviously, all justices are acting on their own personal impulses and have been forever, but now it's just more blatant, I think.
Even Biden finally came out with the his Supreme Court overhaul thing, and like people weren't even that mad about it. I feel like because the pretense is gone. Like 10 or 20 years ago, if that was announced, then people would have been up in arms about it, I think. But some people were.
Yeah. Well, I think that the viewpoint...
Lawyers and judges, mostly.
Yeah. I think that the viewpoint expressed in this opinion piece we're reading is like an increasingly shrinking minority opinion.
Right.
Like, most people see that this is like, obviously the court system is ideologically driven. They're people. The people
the
in charge of this are people.
see it as means to an end. They don't see it for what it supposedly is supposed to be about.
This is not some lofty sort of, they're above politics. No, they're not. They're the same as the rest of us. Okay, so back to that letter that was circulating that remembers the gay marriage backlash and says, hey, we should do something like that. Contrary to the declaration, however, encouraging a vote of no on one justice as retribution for a ruling by the majority of Iowa Supreme Court is unhealthy and unprincipled. Simply put, it unfairly attacks our institution and undermines judicial independence, not unlike the no-vote retribution efforts led by Bob Vander Plaats of the Family Leader in 2010 over the equal protection ruling of the Iowa Supreme Court on same-sex marriage. To Guy Cook's credit, when I was looking back at his history, he was extremely opposed to Bob Vander Plaats doing this in 2010 as well. So this guy really just loves judges.
I mean, they want to keep their jobs. They're good jobs. They don't do anything. Like, that's like, judge, what the fuck? Like, come on. You don't do anything.
Yeah,
you have some of the least important jobs in society.
Yeah, I could do it easily.
Yeah.
Last time I was in court, I saw that the judge was just using a computer. Like, whenever a question would come up, he'd like, he's looking at a screen and like scrolling.
They're not even paying attention.
Oh, these are the rules. Okay. You don't even have to remember anything anymore. You can just Google it.
Right.
What's the judge's seat called?
I don't know.
It's not the bench, because the bench is next to it where the witness stand is, right? I don't know. Moreover, nothing is achieved by a no vote other than a corruption of Iowa's merit selection retention vote system a tearing away at judicial independence, and punishment for a ruling by an honorable and well-qualified jurist who has served as a district court judge, a court of appeals judge, and a Supreme Court justice, after having been nominated 3 times by bipartisan commissions of lay people and lawyers who conducted a detailed review and vetting process. Voting will not and cannot change the opinion of the Iowa Supreme Court.
So the thing is like, most people, like, we don't have any fucking levers of control over government. Like, people realize, like, we don't have a fucking functional democracy here. So people are going to grasp at whatever they have available to them. And it's completely justified for them to take advantage of whatever they have available to them.
Right.
To try to make things change. Or, like I said, at least just send a message that, like, people are not happy about this.
Yeah, these people hate that we even have the judicial retention votes.
100%. 100%. And that's the whole thing. They have this whole fucking process to make it, again, choose like the most fucking middle of the road ass judges. Like, so what's the problem here? Like, that's the system that is in place that you're defending. Like,
and then the people get to decide, is that judge middle of the road enough for us?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, what if this process made a mistake? Are we allowed to tell you that? Like, yeah, he just doesn't want normal ass people voting on this because we don't know enough. We're not as deferential to the.
We didn't spend enough time in law school getting our brains poisoned and having all morality stripped from our fucking lives.
Yeah, morality doesn't weigh into it. This guy is qualified and he hasn't done anything wrong. Plus, he was part of the majority decision, and you're singling him out.
Yeah, that's right.
He's being singled out because he's the only one.
He's the only one.
He's the only one on the ballot this year. If the rest of them were on there, we'd vote no for them also. It would be
the exact same thing. Yep.
Yeah. As children, we all learned the timeless proverb that 2 wrongs don't make a right. A straightforward concept that sums up the enduring wisdom that responding to a perceived or real injustice with another act of injustice or wrongdoing is never justified or ethical.
This is reminding me of the Rob Sand shit.
Yes, if you donated to my opponent, that's like slapping me in the face. Yeah, 2 wrongs, the wrongs in question being filling in a bubble on a piece of paper. Yeah. What about, okay, how about this? 1 wrong is dumping hundreds of thousands of dollars into a campaign to punish people for legalizing a type of marriage, like letting gay people be married to each other. That's 1 wrong, I would say. A second wrong is limiting reproductive rights for the entire population of Iowa. That's also wrong, right? Well,
I think he'll get into that, I think, a little bit.
I think he
doesn't think it's wrong.
Yeah. A heart of this maxim is rooted in the principle of moral integrity, appreciating that righteousness cannot be achieved through retaliatory actions.
What the fuck are you talking about? This one is really insane.
You gotta turn the other cheek. No retaliation.
Retaliation? Just voting no? Like, on someone who did something, like, if they're on the ballot, they're politicians. Sorry. Facts.
Yeah. See, another reason he doesn't approve of retention votes at all. We shouldn't be allowed to participate in that process. Rather, the pursuit of justice should be guided by principles that elevate humanity instead of perpetuating a cycle of retribution. In a full sense, the maxim serves as a marker for the value of forgiveness, empathy, and ethical conduct. Forgiveness? I've never forgiven any of these people, ever. If you serve in the government, like, you are not worthy of forgiveness.
Depends.
You've given up like a portion of your humanity to rule over us. You're no longer worthy of consideration that I give to, like, my friends and neighbors, you know?
Right.
You're a different thing now.
Yep.
One can disagree with a judge's ruling or opinion, but that's not justification to vote them out.
One can disagree with that statement.
As has been said many times in many different forms, judges are not politicians. They do not render opinions or rulings in return for votes.
No, they do it in return for kickbacks.
Yeah, in a lot of cases.
Clarence Thomas.
Sometimes it's direct corruption where they receive money and gifts in exchange for their opinions and rulings. Other times it's simply for the love of maintaining the status quo and our like stratified hierarchy that
just being a very powerful person who gets to like you said, rule over people's lives, like make important decisions that like affect people in very serious ways. Like
it's a love of harming masses of people and standing above them. To demand otherwise is to demand that judges be political, abandon any judicial independence, and render rulings not on the law, but on what is popular. Well, I'm not
our fault
to that. Right. This is not, okay. Having a political motivation behind my decision to vote yes or no on retaining a judge, that is not me changing what the judge is. It's not like making the judge political. It is acknowledging that the judge's decisions are political.
Yeah. And that you disapprove of it. Like, I mean, Jesus.
He's demanding that we pretend that they are not political and vote as if they are not. But they are. We should base our decisions off of the same thing that they base their decisions off of, which is our own personal sense of morality.
Right.
And I think that rulings should be based on what is popular, not on the law. I think that the law should change based on what we want the law to be.
Yeah. I think, actually, collective decisions should be made collectively. I know that's, we're a little pinko on here. But, I mean, come on.
Yeah. Every trial should have a jury of millions.
Right.
Reasonable people can and do disagree on abortion restrictions and reproductive rights.
So again, he doesn't have any actual problem with the ruling whatsoever. He was just, being reasonable about like whatever fetal heartbeat law bullshit. Like, give me a fucking break.
Yeah, and I mean the people who wrote this are writing from a position of if they need to end a pregnancy for any reason, they will never be stopped. There's
absolutely
there's nothing limiting them as individuals. If there are restrictions in Iowa, they can go somewhere else. They have the resources to do so. The people in their family have the resources to do so. So it doesn't affect them that much. So they have, when it doesn't affect you, it's very easy for you to continue believing in these institutions and how we should not interfere with the processes.
Absolutely. You're empathizing with the people in power because you're a person in power. You're not empathizing with the people who actually have to deal with the consequences of these decisions.
Yeah, that makes sense. Indeed, 3 Iowa Supreme Court justices, including the Chief Justice, did just that. That is, disagree with the ruling, with detailed and forceful dissenting opinions. It's a lot of fucking good that does us.
Yeah. It's the old Ruth Bader Ginsburg dissent.
Yeah. They wrote epic essays.
Yeah. She's really mad about this thing that, like, I don't know, I guess Sonia Sotomayor is the new Bader Ginsburg with the dissents.
She's a new epic dissenter, yeah.
But it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, let's recall something he said previously. Let me just remember what it was exactly he said. Oh yeah, here. Voting may out, will not, and cannot change the opinion of the Iowa Supreme Court. You know what also does not change the opinion of the Supreme Court? Writing a dissent. It does nothing.
Right.
Voting one of the justices out has a much larger material impact on the court than any of those dissents.
100%.
Even, like, the dissents don't fucking do anything. Nobody's read them.
Yeah.
The Iowa Supreme Court dissenting opinions, no. Even if people were reading them, the best it can do is just
motivate them
to some actual action.
The retention of this judge.
Well, yeah, and as our writers here say, importantly, however, these dissenting opinions did not call for removal or a no vote in the retention election of the justices who did not agree with them. Such is compelling proof that the no vote effort is misplaced, misguided, and wrong. I think it's proof that they don't want to write a public essay calling for the firing of their colleague.
Yeah.
They also, because they're in power, they sympathize with the other people in power.
Yeah, they will literally never do that. Like,
Rather, this is what we should do instead, okay? When citizens disagree with a court's interpretation of a law, they can petition the legislature to amend the law. Or if they disagree with a court's interpretation of the Constitution, they have the power to seek to amend the Constitution.
Yeah, this is realistic here. Very realistic.
These are simple alternatives. Petition the legislature. Yeah, because they fucking care what I say. Or amend the Constitution. Another thing that will go well in the current makeup of the Iowa government, if we amend the Constitution, it will definitely enshrine reproductive rights.
Yeah, he's like, you
all.
need to be more civically engaged, but not in this specific way that's like enshrined into law. These other ways, like, give me a fucking break. This shit is just garbage.
This type of voting is bad. Do the other type of voting. The passion of the group advocating for reproductive freedom is better directed at Iowa legislators, the governor, and federal politicians, not judges.
Okay.
This one part of the system is immune, untouchable. All right, we'll wrap this up. As has been observed, when a person has been wronged or perceived to be wronged, the easiest thing to do is the wrong thing. All right, listeners, place your bets. Who do you think these writers are about to quote? Think about all well-respected, wise figures of American history. Who do you think that they're about to quote? The easiest thing to do is the wrong thing. But as the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. said, that old law about an eye for an eye leaves everybody blind. The time is always right to do the right thing. Now, I'm not a scholar on MLK or anything, but...
Well, it's a Hammurabi thing, you know.
Well,
if they're
sure, that predates it, but yeah.
yeah, I mean, which is like funny because that's like what lawyers are all about. You know, like that's like the original like code of law or whatever back in Babylon or whatever.
Right.
But they couldn't just quote that. They had to quote MLK to make it more palatable to, I don't know, whoever the fuck this is intended for.
Right. There's a certain feeling that awakens in the 21st century American mind when you recall Martin Luther King and sort of act like he was just sort of like a nonpartisan sort of figure of like our institutions who like didn't have opinions that he acted upon. But I wonder what Martin Luther King Jr.'s relationship was with like the American legal system, the justice system of like, mid 20th century America. Do you think he respected all justices' opinions and thought that nobody should take any action to like remove these people from power when they were stripping the rights away from large segments of the population?
Yeah. There were certain American institutions that were kind of removed from the judicial system who were kind of like targeting Martin Luther King and, trying to stop him from doing certain things. There's a lot going on.
I was reading the James Earl Ray Wikipedia page the other night. That's the guy who shot him, you know. And it seems like MLK's family believes that James Earl Ray maybe didn't do it. And there's sort of compelling case for... I mean, I think that he was involved for sure, but I definitely also think like the FBI was involved in that assassination.
Yeah.
All right, last part of this. There is no good case to fire Justice David May. That is in quotes because it's not a real firing. It's just a retention vote. The only case made is for perpetuating a cycle of retribution, which undermines judicial independence, the bedrock of the rule of law, a right important for all citizens. Oh, actually, there's a little more here. To learn more about Iowa's judicial retention election, visit the Iowa State Bar Association site, judicialfacts.org. In the coming weeks, the site will be updated with detailed performance reviews of all the 69 Iowa judges standing for retention in November. So yeah, read a whole bunch of shit instead of just doing the obvious thing and voting against the guy who helped usher in a 6-week abortion ban. Whose name again?
Their evaluation. They're
David
all good.
May.
They're great. Doing a great job.
Yeah, they went to work. They got perfect attendance at court. David May. Yes, I think we should vote not to retain the guy who's on the ballot who ushered in a 6-week abortion ban. And I think that I'm right to do that.
Not changing my mind.
Yeah, the image that they're trying to portray here is like, if we do this, that's just perpetuating a cycle of revenge. And it's like, look, if we look at this as like two opposing forces, which is kind of simplifying American politics, but you can apply this in different ways. Two opposing forces. There's always one force that is like constantly aggressive and pursuing its goals and like guided by violence and like, what am I looking for here? Guided by their hatred of the other and sort of like their desire to stand on top of those people.
Yeah.
And there is often they frame it in terms of like retribution also. Like, for example, they're turning all our kids trans. We need to take revenge against them or whatever. The immigrants are coming here and ruining our economy and taking our job. We need to fight back against them. I mean, just the phrase fight back or like take America back, that's often a guiding sort of like rallying call for these people. So what we're being asked here is to turn the other cheek, Rob Sand style.
Right.
Never like fall to that yourself. Don't ever be motivated by your desire to fight back against the people who are oppressing, the oppressible in Iowa. And what happens when one side refuses to fight? The other side wins every time, right? It's ridiculous. Right. Doesn't make any sense. You should not listen to these people. Yeah. They're lawyers. They're invested in keeping this shit
Deceiving
going.
Deceiving you.
Okay, well, I think that's an episode.
Yep.
There was one piece in the Gazette I kind of wanted to read because it was super annoying. But
you can at least read the title.
Yeah, sure. Trump is a nattering nabob. It's a lot of alliteration in the piece.
He's a freaking Covfefe, man. He's a Donald Trumper.
Cheeto
Donald
Mussolini.
Dump. What did you see that Biden said? Donald Dump.
Yeah. What's his name? Donald Dump or some shit.
Biden unleashed. He's like it's like Biden with the duct tape over his mouth, like every stand-up comedian 5 years ago.
Ricky Gervais style photo shoot. Yeah. I really actually liked that clip of Biden.
Yeah, that's cool.
He pretended he forgot Trump's name, which he has actually done many times in the past.
Yeah.
It sort of came across to me like now that he's not running for re-election, like a lot of pressure has been taken off of him and his brain works a little bit better.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, he had another good one where he got asked by the press pool about like Trump's complaining about how things aren't affordable enough and what are you going to do about it? And he said, he should get a job.
Yeah. Neither of those guys have ever worked a job. So yeah, it's funny. I've got a voicemail, but I'm going to actually save it for just a minute. But I'll let everybody here know, we're 5 years in. We got a phone number. If you want, we've said a lot of shit over hundreds of hours. Yeah. If you disagree with any of that and you want to fight with us, you can call us at 319-849-8733 to give us your thoughts, give us your opinions.
That is another thing that's interesting about doing the podcast is like, for me, I just do the podcast and I walk away and it just disappears. It's in the ether. Like, people don't actually get mad at you. Like, if you're like, I would like to think that we're relatively like open-minded. Obviously, we're not like super well educated in whatever we're talking about always.
Right, yeah.
Necessarily. But like, if you approach things from a perspective of like trying to be open-minded about it, like people are not going to get mad at you.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. Like, a lot of people, it seems like, are a little bit scared to talk openly about how they feel about things. And yeah, we're white guys, so like some of the consequences will not hit us that hard. But I think I'm happy to be like you can launder your opinions through me, a white man. if you don't have that privilege, I'd be happy to do that. But anyway,
but don't be afraid to speak out on stuff. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, definitely. And you can call us and you can talk there. 319-849-8733. You can also mail us stuff. P.O. Box 5336 in Coralville, Iowa, 52241. Couple of plugs. I'm playing at the Kling album release show on August 31st at Hell. I'm playing in hell for the first time. It's a venue in Iowa City. I know where it is, so if you don't know where it is, you can ask me.
I was going to say, that must be someone's house, right?
Yeah, it is. And here's what I wanted to save the voicemail for. This is kind of a riff on some stuff we talked about on the last episode.
Thanks, everyone. You've been listening to Rock Hard Caucus. If you enjoyed the show, there's just a couple of questions here on this last screen. Yeah, you can all flip this around and go ahead. Just a couple of questions there for you.
So thank you to the caller for pressuring the listeners a little bit into leaving us a tip on the on the little tablet there. There's a couple buttons there, 15, 20, 25. You don't have to press it, but I am keeping a close eye on you as you check out here at the end of the podcast.
Yeah, it makes me laugh that people are really don't like the tableside paying. I'm like, hell yeah, I can pay right away. I don't have to wait for them to bring me my check and come back with it.
So if you want to leave us, a tip, 15, 20% of whatever you paid to listen to this free episode, patreon.com/rockhardcaucus is where you can leave us a tip. And in exchange for your tips, you will get more podcast. What could be better? Nothing could be finer, as the fish man at the
fish man at Bishop's and Westdale Mall. Rest in peace.
To Westdale Mall. The guy might be alive.
Oh, right.
We don't know. Yeah.
Correct. Thank you for clarifying.
This week we released Bay Not Me Slippin' episode 6, which is our review of We Are Not Your Kind, Slipknot's 2019 album with Bridget Botkin. I thought that was fun. Album was kind of good. Yeah,
it was better than expected.
Yeah.
I thought Slipknot fell off real bad, but apparently they kept on ticking.
And we still got one studio album to go, so if you want to catch the end of Bay Not Me Slippin', get on our Patreon. This Thursday, we are releasing the 25th episode of Speed Freak Read Speak, which is our Sonic the Hedgehog comic book review series with Tony, where we reviewed, finally, the new Ken Penders book, The Laura Sue Chronicles Beginning. We talked about it for almost 2 hours because I mean, honestly, we just scratched the surface. So that'll be out Thursday for all of you. And of course, I want to plug, we talked about the abortion thing again. I want to plug Autonomy Iowa City and the Iowa Abortion Access Fund, which are organizations that can help you out if you find yourself in a situation that the state of Iowa now restricts you. If you got a pregnancy going on, you need help figuring it out. AutonomyIowaCity.org and or IowaAbortionAccessFund.org.
Yep. Also wanted to say, keep up the pressure on the Des Moines City Council regarding that, the bill to, or whatever, ordinance to criminalize homelessness. They have been they've pushed back the meeting, the final reading that was required to get it into the code or whatever.
Yeah, they delayed it to the next meeting. They delayed it
to September. So there's more time for, input. So give them a call, email, whatever you have.
Yeah. Do you remember what the date of that was?
Monday, September 16th.
September 16th.
Yeah, so you got a whole month to continue. And I know there's been a lot of petitions that have been really racking up signatures. So obviously they're somewhat receptive to the pressure. But keep it up.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody who is organizing those petitions and organizing everybody speaking at public comment and all that, because any normal person understands that this is an evil policy and you're just kicking people when they're at their lowest point in their lives.
I'm seeing people I know who live in Des Moines who aren't really I don't know them as political people who are posting about it. It's good to see for sure.
Yeah. It's not just fringe communist, nut jobs.
People with guillotines in their podcast logos.
Exactly. Yeah. And so as we end the show, Evan, I think we should dedicate our 5th anniversary episode to our dearly departed Vivian, who passed away this week.
Yep. She was 19 years old. Little Siamese kitty. Last time when Justin was here, she made him not have a great night's sleep because she was crawling all over him because she loved to sit in anyone's lap. But she was starting to have some age-related issues. So she's she's in a better place now.
Yeah, I think she's maybe been heard in the background of our podcast before.
Yes,
I know
think
Minnie
so.
has for sure, but I think Vivian also. Yeah, and I did not. I was not angry at her at all for walking all over me all night.
I should have let her into my bedroom, but I needed to make sure that. I mean, she would have had access to you anyway.
Yeah, it's okay.
And yeah, because I can't lock her in my bedroom at night. But
sure, yeah, I was happy to spend some time with her.
Yeah,
as she neared the end. Rock Hard Caucus sends its love to all cats in the world.
Yep, and dogs and other animals.
Sure. But cats are at the top.
Yeah, cats are at the top for both of us. So,
and we're going to close out with some music from an Iowa City hardcore band, Thought Wrong. This is their song "One More Round," and you can get their little 5-track album, EP, whatever you like to call it, at the Pokies Records Bandcamp page. Because they were playing at the show where I injured myself. So shout out to Thought Wrong and all punks. Yeah, Rock Hard Caucus also sends its love to all punks everywhere, as long as you're not like the Nazi skinhead type of punk.
Right.
Only the anti-racist skinhead punks.
There's not a lot of skinheads in Iowa City, is there?
No, I mean, people don't really, they're not like calling themselves skinheads. There are people who shave their heads, but it's just aesthetic. Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for a good 5 years, and here's to 500 more.
Yeah, like a new, like the next generation.